Okay, I now want to talk about Jumanji. This is a throwback to, the mid-90s and that popular popular board game that was made famous by this movie. And so it's called Jumanji, and if you've ever seen it before, I'm sure most people who are movie watchers have seen Jumanji before. But then again, stranger things have happened, so. Alright, Jumanji starts out with a bunch of kids playing this mystical board game that they find. I believe it's in their attic or basement or something. Somewhere in their house, and it's like, oh hey, it's this board game, you want to play? And one of the characters is a young boy version of Robin Williams' future character, Alan Parrish, I believe. Yep. So that happens, and Robin Williams' character gets sucked into the game, and this is pretty much where what we all think of as Jumanji starts. So cut to like 25 years in the future, and now two other kids start playing the game, and they end up pretty much getting into all these ridiculous situations with strange jungle animals, a hunter trying to kill them, and I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely liked it a lot. The big thing was I felt that it was originally intended to be a family movie, but the way that it actually came out as more than that, because the story was actually very strong, I feel. They kind of explained everything. They didn't leave any loose ends behind, and the way that it ended was just so... Alright, I'm not going to spoil that for you, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. Definitely recommend. And you get to see Robin Williams jumping around. So Jumanji, definitely pretty good. Definitely recommend it. If you haven't already seen it, I'm almost going to say that is a must-watch. Alright, next movie. This one a lot of people have not heard much about, but it's called Man of the Year. Now, I'd watched this a few years back when it first came out. It came out in 2006. And basically, it's kind of interesting to think about now because recently, Stephen Colbert wanted to run for president. But interesting about this, Robin Williams' character, he is a political comedian, and he wants to run for president. This movie's called Man of the Year. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Anyway. So, what ends up happening is he goes to run for president, and there's two other candidates that are running, and he's obviously the third party. He's not like Democrat or Republican or anything. But he ends up winning. I'm not going to tell you how or why, because, that's part of the story plot and might be spoiling something. But it's definitely very interesting what he does with the role. So the first half of the movie is more or less like a comedy drama. So you can expect a couple jokes, a little bit of drama, and it's a little bit slower, but it keeps you entertained. Second half of the movie, it actually becomes a thriller suspense drama, and there's some tension being built. There's stuff going on where people could die, so it's definitely gets a little bit deeper than just a silly comedy about some guy winning the election. I mean, obviously, if not a Republican or Democrat won a presidential election, something would probably go down. So anyway, so that was Man of the Year. I personally enjoyed it a lot, and a lot of other people don't know what to expect from it, but the people that I told about and they ended up watching it, most of them liked it. There were a few people that were all like, oh, it's okay, but I think if you go into the movie knowing what it's about, or if you think you're gonna like what I told you about it just now, then it's probably worth a watch. So definitely recommend. He does a good job, obviously. Robin Williams is great. So, all right. Let's see. Oh, next movie is Dead Poets Society. Now, this is definitely one of the older classics that Robin Williams stars in. It's a late 80s movie, and Robin Williams plays this teacher, a new teacher that comes to this school, a very conservative school, and he teaches English literature, basically. They do a lot, I guess, focus on poetry, because the movie itself is called Dead Poets Society. But he goes to instill these, values of, I don't know what to call it, maybe passion and, living life to its fullest. And, values like that in the students, because obviously the school is very conservative. So, but what ends up happening, a little bit of drama goes on, and there's some, realism with how some of the kids, live their lives, and, drama that you might expect. But the ending of the movie is very bittersweet, let me say. Yeah, and I think the way that the events pan out, obviously there's a lot of good dialogue, because obviously you can't have a movie about English literature without good dialogue. And there's great character development. There are a lot of high school kids to pay attention to, but they all have their own little personality quirks, so they kind of stand out, and you really get to it feels like you get to know them. Dead Poets Society, definitely recommend, definitely worth a watch. This also, I would say, is a must-watch if you haven't already seen it. Thing is, if you're not into the whole drama, human struggle type deal, I guess because there are some people who only like movies where things move on the screen, can't appreciate a holistic, movie about life. It's Dead Poets Society. Alright. Okay, last movie I want to review that I have watched with Robin Williams in it for today is Patch Adams. This is the second one that I watched today. I actually hadn't seen this before. Didn't know anything about it, but I found out that Patch Adams is actually based on a true story about someone who is actually named, what's his name? Patch isn't really his first name. Patch is like a nickname. Hunter is his first name. So Hunter Adams, who is actually a real person, and he had events similar to this in his life. So when you watch the movie, you can watch the extras. I ended up watching the extras for this. I don't really watch a lot of extras for a lot of movies because it takes up a lot of time. But for this one, I felt like I had to watch. So anyway, it is about this man who starts out in this. He checks into a mental institution, but he willingly commits himself, so he can basically leave whenever. But his reasoning was that he was suicidal, and I guess he didn't want to kill himself. Probably a good call. So he ends up meeting some of the other patients in the institution, and he ends up helping them. There's I definitely like the scene with the how many fingers and the squirrels. But you definitely a good scene. But if you end up watching, you'll know what I mean. And he gets out and he goes to medical school so that he can become a doctor and help people through. Now, the big issue with this movie is that he's a doctor in a time, I think it was supposed to be like 1960s or so, where humor and laughter, it's very unorthodox to be unprofessional with patients, and you can't get personal with them because you might have transference or something and be too involved, and it'll affect your objectivity and things like that. But I think what this movie's trying to do is prove the point that it's not all about objectivity. It's treating the person, not treating the disease. So regardless of the outcome of the disease, the person has a better quality of life. And that's pretty much the big thing I took away from this movie. Definitely a lot of great character development. Definitely has a couple of good, things to say about the medical community, and maybe it even brought up the issue with medical insurance. The huge thing that Michael Moore did with Sicko. Like, it even briefly mentioned that. It didn't really get too deep into that. If you want to get into that, watch Sicko. But of course, remember Michael Moore doesn't. But I reviewed Sicko a while ago, so you guys can look that up. But so yeah, definitely recommend Patch Adams. It's very good comedy drama, mostly a drama, but it has a lot of funny parts in it, and definitely worth a watch. So anyway, I thought overall, for the most part, Robin Williams' selection of movies here, they're all pretty good. I think he is a great actor. Definitely think he does a great job. I'd like to continue seeing him in good movies, so I don't want to see any more movies like RV or License to Wed. No more of those. More of this other stuff, really good. I'm almost tempted to say I might like Robin Williams better in a drama role than a comedy role, because he usually does great drama roles, and just throw a couple jokes in there and he's golden. Whereas if he just goes into this stupid, it's meant to be a comedy, it might not be that as great, because I think most of the movies that I talked about today were drama movies. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you guys didn't mind this little different tangent than just different movies. It's just random movies. These are all Robin Williams related movies. So anyway, have a good night and enjoy the movies. Good night.